right, now I'm joined with Sienna Morgan. Sienna Morgan, you're the Executive Director of POSA. Why don't you explain, one, your role and the organization? What's POSA?
So POSA stands for Police Officers of Scottsdale Association. We were originally founded as a association for the Scottsdale Police Department employees with a specialty in, protecting members' rights internally in the department. And in 2005, POSA Outreach was created, and it is designed to give our officers the opportunity to interact with the public outside of their daily policing. They spend their time, a couple times a year. We do a Shop with a Cop event in the winter season. We partner with the city of Scottsdale to do the back to school event, as well as some smaller programs throughout the year, like our SROs put on. And basically, I'm in charge of doing all the fundraising for the organization and then giving the guys and gals of the department the opportunity to execute those events. Like, I will schedule them, plan them, and then I'm the behind the scenes for everything.
Oh, that's wonderful. And POSA's been involved with the back to school event for a while now.
I would say close to probably 20 years. I don't know that exact number anymore. I took over about 8 years ago, and I know that prior to that, we've been involved for a very long time. Back when it was still at Vista del Camino and Jean was running it, it was a couple-day event, and it's grown really, really beautifully in the last, I would say, 5 to 6 years. I missed when it was at the baseball stadium. I thought that was a wonderful venue, and I hope we get to get back to those kinds of events again in the future, giving the kids the opportunity to hand select all the clothes and pick shoes displayed out and their backpacks and all of those things.
Right. So POSA is the ones behind the shoes, right? Yep. The shoes. So explain what you guys have to do to make sure that the kids, and let's talk pre-COVID first, and then you can switch it to the times of COVID.
So pre-COVID, we, for many years, we worked with Payless, and then that company, I believe, has dissolved or whatnot. And Sue was really instrumental in helping us set up a new partnership with the Skechers brand. And basically, when it's pre-COVID years, Skechers shows up with every size, multiple styles for all the students. And if they end up with a pair that they run out of quickly, they're able to give a different size to families, and then they're able to go and exchange them. But it's just like a mile-long table of shoes for all the kids. And one of the most important things personally, I think, for kids going back to school would be a backpack and a pair of shoes, new. You start the year off right, with feeling good with new things. So it's always been something that POSA has done, is the shoes, and it's probably one of my favorite parts of the event. Obviously, other people do really important things as well, but kids, the faces that you see when kids walk up and they're like, oh my God, all these shoes, they get very excited. So, and Skechers has really nice shoes. They're not, my big thing with the shoes too, and having so many options of designs and styles, is like, this event is for low-income families, but I like that we give them opportunities to really pick things out when it comes to clothes and shoes, because that way they're not all showing up to school in the same generic shoes or something, where then they're kind of feeling like they're not as important or special.
That's one of my favorite things about our program too. When they're picking out their backpack, they're picking out the binder they want. Yep. They pick out their shoes.
Yep.
It's truly what makes, I think, this program stand out from other programs that I love so much. But now talk about post-COVID. How are you guys run? I know how it was run last year and this year, but explain to everyone else what happens.
So for our end of the organization, we basically I just go to the store and pay for shoes every day. It's almost easier in some senses. It was a little stressful in previous years because we'd set up tables. We were also offering our Kid Care ID fingerprinting services at previous years, which is something that, like, those require so much physical contact, just with touching the scanners and such, that we're just like, we'll bring those back when the public is ready and when it is safe. But with shoes, we're doing vouchers again this year, from what I understand, where every family, when they go through the drive-through process of picking up their supplies and then the gift cards and things for different shopping needs, they'll just get a flyer that's like numbered or some sort of coding for each family so that the store knows how many kids they have, how many shoes they're supposed to be receiving. And then each afternoon, after the window of time that the families are all shopping in, I just pop over, I talk to the store and make sure that everybody's happy with what they're getting, and I run the cart all night.
That
So
is a lot
it's
of
really
money.
easy for me. A lot of other organizations, I think, have like a lot of like being outside that day all day, and I'm like, I'm just gonna pop over to the store tonight.
And that's got to be a lot of money. How much
Yeah.
do you guys typically spend?
Each year it really varies. We typically are around $30,000. I budget for 35 just to be safe. But you know, each year it varies. Last year, unfortunately, I think a lot of families didn't understand how the shoe voucher was going to work. So we were pretty well under what we expected to spend. I believe it was around $22,000. I'm really hopeful. We've made some plans with Sue and Skechers to make sure that the voucher gives people a week or two window to get over there, because a lot of these families, again, you know, they're taking the bus, they're working, they don't necessarily have the time to take their kids over to Skechers. It's only one location. That's probably one of the only negatives about our situation, is that it's one store and it's not super close to where the back to school event is being held this year. So it does require families to get over to that location, but we're trying to expand that window of time and not make it set on like a single day or a certain few days, just so that everybody who has the opportunity to go through the program has the chance to get over there and get some shoes too. Last year, even, you know, I had spoken with the Skechers manager and I said, hey, if you get anybody that calls you in the next day or two after the event has closed, I'm able to zip over here. I will come pay with my credit card again and make it happen. So.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful what you do, your organization. And yes, pre-COVID, the kids love seeing all of the police and the horses and the old cars.
Motorcycles. Yeah, it's so sad that we don't have all the things to like do, you know, and that's a big role of POSA's, is to break down those negative stereotypes with law enforcement. You know, that's something that we do throughout the year. You know, sometimes you'll see things where kids, because of things in the media and the news and movies and whatnot, they think that law enforcement is there to get them. And it's like, it's 100% the opposite. You know, there's always going to be things that are out there like that, but things like having the motor units and the bike guys and the bicycle, you know, it gives the kids a chance to like sit on a motorcycle, climb in a car. Sometimes we've had the SWAT truck come out, like things that like you see in movies, and then you get to sit on it, and it gives the officers a chance to communicate with the kids and talk. Like we always have stickers and stuff. So
I love seeing that interaction.
Yeah.
And I love our Scottsdale Police Department. I think they are amazing. I love everything that they do. So that interaction, when you see that at that event, oh my gosh, it is so great.
We're really all blessed to live in such a beautiful and safe city and have, you know, not just great citizens, but great law enforcement personnel too, that everybody really does care about each other here in Scottsdale. And it's something that really shines out at our traditional back to school events. And we're going to get back there.
We are. We are. Sienna, do you have any, a particular like story or like, you know, favorite moment that happened that you can share with everybody?
At a back to school event?
Yeah.
I would probably have to refer to an event where one of our SROs, it was post-event, but we have SROs, which are school resource officers. He's our VP of our organization. Unfortunately, he's on vacation. I tried to get him involved in this meeting because I think he can speak a lot better to these things. But he had a student who had gone through a lot of family losses and stuff a few years ago, and was able to get the student registered for this through recommending in his school. And the kid came back to school the next year and had been really struggling the previous year. But when he went through the program, he ended up doing much better the next year just because of his confidence level. And, I mean, there was a lot more to it than just back to school, but that was like that initial seed work of like, all it takes is a new pair of shoes, a new backpack, school supplies that are not old, and, things that some families, it's a struggle to buy those things. And it really just changed the student's mindset. And, Officer Steele he still talks about that one a lot, where he's just like, this kid went from being somebody who he was in middle school, was gonna struggle through middle school and probably struggle into high school, and is now, I think he's in late ends of high school and just doing so much better than he could have if he hadn't had that, outreach. Like, our officers take their jobs so seriously, especially in the SRO field, where it's just like every child matters.
We love that. We love hearing all of those great stories, because that's truly what this event is for. Again, our families, and serving this community, and all of us as that come in and help do it. That's what we live for, is that we know we're making a difference.
Yep. The joint work is what is so important, and like, we have an officer who, it's not part of back to school, but in our Shop with a Cop, we call it Sirens and Sleigh Bells event. We have an officer who went through that program. He's now an employee of the department, and he went through that program like 15 years ago. And it's just like, that's part of what made him want to become an officer, was that experience really resonated with him, and being the change in his community that he wanted to see one day. So.
Oh, that just gave me goosebumps. That's awesome. I
He's
love
a pretty
that.
cool dude.
Yeah. Well, Sienna, thank you so much. And we just thank the work that you do, and that POSA.
That's why I was so sad I couldn't get someone else to do it, because I'm the behind the scenes, but I do appreciate you saying all of that.
Well, we appreciate all the officers and all the work that they do. And yes, we'll see you hopefully next year.
Yes, absolutely. And like, I'll just run over to Skechers every day, like.
Yep.
Next year. So thank you so much.
Absolutely.